What's up, guys? It's Mac. I'm back, and today we're going over glide baits for dummies. I'm gonna go over a few tips for how to fish glide baits, whether it's hyper rattle, hyper hammer, anything like that, jigging rap, whatever. We're going over glide baits for fall walleyes. So today I'm gonna be going over 4 things you need to know about glide baits, jigging raps, hyper rattles, hyper hammers, tiki minnows, all the glide baits like that. I'm gonna go over 4 things you need to know about these baits. The first thing I think you need to know about these baits is what they are and how they work exactly. They're heavier bait. Most of these glide baits are a little bit more nose heavy. So what that does is it gets that bait to sink quick, and by having fins on the back, you'll see almost all glide baits have fins on the back. What that does is it, hence glide bait, glides that bait around, so it covers a bit more water. So now that you know what glide baits are, we're gonna kind of go over a couple other things that you need to know on how to fish them properly and be more effective with them. Now that we've moved on from the bait itself, we're gonna talk about the rod and kind of reel you want set up with for fishing these glide baits, because like I said, they're heavier bait. You're gonna need something with a bit of power to fish these baits. So what I recommend is a fast action rod, something with a quick tip, super responsive, that you're able to really pop that bait and get that bait moving. So look for a rod that's a medium, even a medium fast, even an extra fast tip is kind of what you want. You want something that's super snappy, something that's able to really get that bait up off the bottom, because like I said, these baits are heavy. A lot of these baits are an ounce, so it's important to have proper equipment for jigging these bigger baits. And I'm always running fluorocarbon leader. I like to use a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader for glide baits like this, just because you do get some pike and it's nice to not be getting bit off all the time. And on the same token as that, off of the leader, I'm running a braided line. I like a braided line for these glide baits because you can just feel that much more in the deeper water. So now on to how to fish them. So these baits are heavy bait, so they sink super quick. You'll notice that as soon as you drop it down, these things just plummet. So the way you want to fish these baits is let it go right down there, hit the bottom, and just snug up your line. You want to just kind of, you want to keep it below your waist, because you're going to be jigging it pretty aggressively. So what you want to do is get it down there on the bottom. You want to give it a quick snap, let it hit the bottom. Quick snap, let it hit the bottom. Eagle's yelling at me, but you want to get a quick snap, hit the bottom. The biggest thing with jigging wraps that you need to understand is there's no there's no too fast. There's no such thing as too fast with a jigging wrap or any sort of glide bait. The faster, if anything, the better, in my opinion. The way that these fish are reacting to these kind of baits is a super quick reaction. It's they see it, they want to kill it. It's not a come in, check it out, look at it, maybe go around it a couple times, come back, check it out. It's a come in and kill it. It's a quick reaction, it's a quick response. And a lot of times what these fish are actually going to do is, you'll notice when you're jigging these baits, you're jigging it, and then all of a sudden you go to jig it and you're just setting the hook into a fish. And what's happening is these fish are coming in, they're just trying to time it, right? They're seeing your bait fly up, go back down, fly up, go back down, and then they just go for the pounce. It's just like a cat and mouse. The cat goes for the pounce when the mouse is down, right? So those fish are coming in. As that bait sits there on the bottom, you're jigging it. They come and they pin it on the bottom, so you're going to set that hook and you're burying that hook into the fish's mouth. And that's what kind of brings me to another thing here is, when you're jigging these baits, hold your rod properly. Like I said, they're heavy baits, so choke up on your rod a bit, stick that butt end under your arm so you got a bit more power, and really just jig that thing aggressive. The best way I can describe it is, when you're jigging a jigging wrap or any sort of glide bait, is I tell all my clients the same thing, is when you're jigging it, I want you to picture each time you jig it like you're setting the hook on a fish, because if you're not, then you're going to miss a lot of fish, because you're not going to be ready, because these fish are going to come in quick, pin it on the bottom, and you either get them or you don't. They are a heavier bait, so they are easier to throw, so it's really important to really bury those hooks into a fish's mouth. And for like jigging techniques and stuff like that with these baits, like I said, you want to really maintain a lot of bottom contact. So you want to jig that bait, glide it up, let it hit the bottom, jig that bait, glide it up, let it hit the bottom. But like I was saying, how those fish like to pin it on the bottom, it's okay to jig that bait, let it hit the bottom, and let it sit there for a couple seconds to let those fish come in and sit on it sometimes. And you'll notice too, sometimes if the fish are really turned off, you'll notice you'll hook a lot in the chin, in the belly, whatever. They're not feeding, no, but they are coming in to check it out. So if you're snagging fish, you're doing something right in my opinion. If you're jigging that bait aggressive enough and those fish are coming in to check it out, you're so close to getting those fish to bite. If you're hooking them in the chin, in the face, that means that you're working that bait properly, because they are coming in to tee it up. It's just that they're not teeing it up in time, or you're just jumping the gun and hooking them in the face. Either way, you'll notice fishing these baits, you will snag a lot of fish because you are 2 hooks, one in the front, one in the back, and these fish are coming in so fast, they're not necessarily always hitting it properly. Another thing you need to know about jigging raps is that they are a fragile bait. Specifically the Rapala jigging raps, they're fragile bait. These fins like to break off on you, especially if you're fishing a lot of rock and stuff and just getting in the net. So what I like to do here, this is something I've been doing for a while now, and I've definitely noticed it makes these baits hold up a little bit longer, is I take some Gorilla Glue, some, what do you call it, Crazy Glue, whatever, some fast drying stuff, and I got a fine tip on here. So what I do is, since these fins like to break off a lot in the net and on fish, is I run a thin little bead of glue just along the bottom, on the edges, and on the top edges too. Just enough so there's a little bit more surface area with glue on it to hold these fins on. So you can see there, I'm just barely putting a bit of glue on there, just on the edges. You don't need a lot, but just cover it up a bit, give it a bit more grab, and you'll notice your baits will hold up a lot longer, and it'll keep these baits lasting for a lot more fish. You can see here, this is the clear stuff, nothing special, but a little bit of Gorilla Glue can go a long way in protecting your baits. And as I mentioned too, these baits are a really easy bait to shake, any sort of glide bait like that, because they're heavier bait. So what I like to do is I like to upgrade the treble hooks on them, and what I found is the best way is like they have a little thing here on the bottom, and get yourself some split ring pliers, put that split right in there, and just give it a quick pinch and twist, and that opens them right up. You can see that there, it's opened right up. Now I'll be able to pop that hook right off of there and put a new one on. I already upgraded these hooks. I usually go about 1 size bigger, and I usually go to a little bit longer shank. I like that hook to be able to swing around a little bit more. You don't want to hook too big, because then you'll notice it'll foul up a lot. So you want to stick with something that's going to fit on there properly and have a little bit more meat and a little bit more grab. And make sure you just pinch that back closed, and that hook cannot come off of there anymore. So do yourself a favor, glue up your baits a little bit, put on a bigger treble, and catch more fish. Thank you guys for watching.